Yes, it's another edition of the Irie 98 podcast. Yours truly, Rusty G here. I am here with Richard, who is representing the Convex End to End going down this year, May 3rd. That is Saturday, May 3rd, correct?
That is correct.
Welcome to Irie Studios.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of, I say, business outside of this, right?
We do.
So it's interesting that I have you here in the seat to talk about this specifically.
Right.
But I understand you've been doing this for a while.
20 years. Yeah.
20 years strong
Mm-hmm.
with the Convex End to End. And can you tell me and tell everybody a little bit about the history of it?
Yeah,
And-
happy to. It's kind of one of those extraordinary stories with very humble beginnings. You had there's a company in the day that was called Johnson and Higgins, and there was this one guy, Phil Simpson, who was a runner.
Okay.
And he was talking to his colleagues about running the railway trail had recently opened, and he was talking about running the entire railway trail, and which was a big deal. That's a long distance. And
It is.
And his friends and colleagues in the company were saying, that's, ridiculous. Maybe we could do a gentle stroll from one end of the island to the other. And so a few of them got together and they decided to, it was Paul Rollerson and John Borrell and Clive Cotton, sorry. And this is back in 1987. And they said, maybe we could do a little walk. And they say, let's not be so ambitious. Let's try doing something from Barnes Corner to Dockyard and see how that goes. And they just sort
Just
of
not
put the
that
word
far.
out. No, but it's still it's a good walk.
Yeah.
It's a good walk. Yeah. So they put the word out to some of their friends and colleagues in the company, and they set out. And surprisingly, a whole bunch of people joined them, and they raised some money. And they said, well, maybe we can do this end-to-end thing. So for 88, they then said, okay, let's do it. And they put the word out again, and they made it a fundraising thing. And they reached out to a couple of charities and brought the charities in to be part of it. And they raised, I don't know, $43,000 or something. They were shocked. And they said, it looks like we've got something here, but there was no organizing committee. There was no organizing committee. It was all kind of loosey-goosey. But they said, well, we've hit a nerve. There's something definitely here. And then over the years, they gradually added more infrastructure, road marshals, water stops, police got involved, more charities involved, and the money kept increasing. And that was the founding of the End-to-End.
Of probably one of, if not maybe the biggest event of its kind in Bermuda. Can we say that?
Well, I guess it depends on if you're talking about fundraising dollars, number of participants. I mean, there's various criteria you could use, but I think the most we ever had was around 3,000. And last year we had over.
Somebody giving you a shout? Busy
man. And I turned my volume off too.
That's all good.
Last year we had over 2,500, and we're hoping for a similar number this year. But it's more than just the Jeez.
Hey, when you're high in demand, putting together such a big event.
So we're hoping about 2,500 again this year, but it's more than that, just the participants. We have hundreds of volunteers. There are volunteers because the water stops are sponsored by various businesses and charities across the island.
Correct.
And they have people working there. And then you have hundreds of people who put out chairs and tents and barbecues along the route to encourage people and just watch the excitement of people walking across the island to raise funds for charity. So
yeah, it's a great event. I mean, I've
38th year now.
I've participated obviously as a DJ in the DJ capacity in quite a few water stops. The last few years I've done Deloitte's over there at Somerset Bridge.
Very popular one.
Yeah, the Somerset Bridge. So there's always a great vibe. So shout outs to the crew over there, and looking forward to again being involved this year on my side. But can you tell me a little bit about the charities that you're raising funds for this year?
Sure. So we have a very active committee that or board that organizes the event. And I don't know if people understand what goes into organizing an event of this size,
It's a
but
lot.
it's a
It's a lot.
mammoth undertaking. Shout out to Starla Williams, our event planner. I mean, she does an extraordinary job. And we work 12 months a year. We finish one, we have a meeting the following month, and we're right away
Right
starting to
back.
plan the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's major. So we get together once a year and we evaluate the applications that are put in. We invite charities to apply to participate in the funds that we raise. And this year we have Age Concern, which is a well-known charity on the island that supports seniors and advocates for seniors and has all kinds of programs. We have the Bermuda Audubon Society, their conservation plan for High Point. They have a new property, a new reserve, and we are going to fund I guess it's the management plan how they're going to
Gotcha.
organize
How
that
they're putting that
property.
together. Yeah.
Bermuda Red Cross. They are looking to revitalize their equipment rental program because I guess their equipment has been around for a bit and needs to be updated. The
Hmm.
Duke of Edinburgh, their international award in Bermuda. We always see, I think it's Duke of Edinburgh, isn't it? We see these
Yes.
kids trekking across the island with their
Yes.
backpacks. Yeah. And last thing, we have the reading clinic with their core reading program this year. So the way it works is people pay $50 for adults and $25 for full-time students in primary, secondary school
Hmm.
to participate in the event. And every dollar from the registration fee goes towards our charities. And plus, we ask people to raise funds. So either to put in some extra funds on their own, send out requests to family and friends to help support them. Back in the day when it was all paper and stuff, people would get support for, so much a mile, so much to do it. They'd fill out sheets, pledge sheets, and there'd be
Right.
all this cash floating around.
Right. Right. Right.
Well, we've kind of done away with most of the cash now. Most of it's done online. We
Nice.
accept donations online. You register online. And what happens is we take that pool of cash and then we divide it amongst our charities after the fact. And they usually get around $50,000 a charity, which for them
That's a big
is a
deal
nice piece of change.
for sure.
And what did we say? It's $7 million have been raised
In
over the
total.
years to date. So we all feel good about that. And it all stays in Bermuda. It's all for Bermuda's charities. And must talk about our sponsors because, as I said, this is a very complicated and expensive event to put on because it is a community event and it's not just about raising funds. It's about getting people out and walking, exercising, seeing the island, maybe seeing parts of the island they haven't seen before, using that beautiful railway trail that we
Hmm.
have.
Hmm.
And so it's a super event, and we have all those people that are lining the streets to cheer them on. It's a big event for people who don't participate, for the hundreds of volunteers that help us, road marshaling, handing out medallions and stuff. I mean, literally thousands and thousands of people are involved in this event, and I'd have to think, if not the biggest event in the island, it's certainly one of the largest events in
It's
the
up
island.
there for sure.
Right,
For
right.
sure.
So I was talking about sponsorship. So we're really fortunate and thankful to have Convex as our title sponsor. And our platinum sponsors are, well, you mentioned Deloitte. So Deloitte is a platinum sponsor along with Butterfield Bank. So those are our top three, but there are numerous other sponsors at different levels, gold, silver, that help us out to put on what is really a mammoth undertaking. And I don't think anybody could really appreciate,
So,
unless you're on the board, to know everything that goes on
well,
to
that's
support
what I
a
wanted
walk
to.
from one end of the island to the other.
I want to get into that a little bit. So, you've given us the history of the event itself when it
Mhm.
started. But you said you've been part of the team putting this together for
Yes.
20 years now.
hmm
Can you tell me a bit about your story and how you ended up working with the team and how did you get involved? You personally.
Okay, so I'm Canadian. If anybody's watching this, you can see my Canada's not for sale hat that I'm wearing now that I just brought back from Toronto.
I love that, by
Yeah,
the way.
yeah. And had started doing business in Bermuda when I was still living in Canada. And I was going back and forth occasionally. And I knew about this event. And I think my first involvement, I sold some baseball caps to M3 Wireless because they were a sponsor of the End.
Now you're going back.
Yeah. And then in 2004, I was moving to the island to start something called the Payback Card. This was something long ago. It was a reward card program before reward cards were really a thing.
Hmm.
And so moving here, I said, well, geez, I'm moving to the island. Can I get involved in the event? I mean, I'm making some money off the event. I'd like to give back and do something with the event. So in 2004, before I actually moved to the island, I had a place on the board. I took the responsibility for registration. And back in 2004, we were still doing registration. It was all paper.
Oh, man.
We would have a one-night registration at the Bank of Bermuda building at All Boys Point, and you'd have lineups of people, and we would take the teller positions, and people would line up, come to us. We'd manually register them, take their money, and all that stuff. It was really a deal. And even then in 2004, I was like a techie guy. And I said, this really makes no sense. There's a better way to do this than bits of paper and envelopes,
especially for thousands of people. And
right,
man, that's
right. And I'm all about customer service. This is just like my passion is how do we make anything better for the customer? And so the end-to-end, having people line up like that on one night, I said, this doesn't make sense. So we went to a system where we created some software where we could do it by computer. And eventually we allowed people to do stuff online. And we went from a one night registration to 5 full days of registration, which we still do now. Shout out to Washington Mall. They've been amazing supporters of ours for years and years and years. Having said that, though, this year we are moving locations. We are going to be at the Sunglass and Watch Shop on Reed Street, right near the wall. And we're going to be downstairs. They've very graciously given us their entire basement to host registration this year. So I've been on the board since 2004 doing registration, and where we used to take in a lot of cash. People used to come to registration on registration week to register. Now it's turned into being where most people come just to check in, pick up their t-shirt, their goodie bag and stuff. And so what do you get for your $50 or your $25? I mean, a lot of people want to know that.
That's the big question.
Great that we're raising money for charity, but money is tight and people choose where to spend their money. So for your $50, you're getting a top quality kind of performance wicking t-shirt. You're getting a cotton tote bag that you can then use at a grocery store or something and keep using it. And that bag is filled with things that our gracious sponsors have provided, whether they be coupons for discounts or actual items. You get a medallion when you finish the event on a ribbon. There's water stops all along the way, and each of those have food and drink, and there's water. We do not supply a water bottle anymore. We found that, some people have been doing the event for 15, 20 years. I mean, how many water bottles do you need? And everybody has a water bottle. So make sure that if you're doing the event with us, bring your water bottle, and we'll give you plenty of water to refill it along the way.
So I want to just pause on the water stops for a second, because don't want to underestimate or understate how many water stops there are. We're talking about end to end. You're walking from one end of the island to the other. So I believe there are about 23 water stops, 23 or more, if I'm not
23,
mistaken.
And then there's an additional 8, which are specifically for cyclists, because the cyclists don't take the same route all along the way. We don't allow cyclists on the railway trail anymore. So
let's talk about that. Let's talk about the difference between if you're signing up as a cyclist versus if you're signing up to do the walk, and then you've also got middle to end options. There's so many different options, right?
Right.
So all of your sign up is online, register online. Is that correct?
Well, you can, if you have difficulty registering online or don't have access, you can do it at our event office in the Sunglass and Watch
Right,
Shop,
right.
which will be the week before the event. And I'm sure I have it here somewhere, the dates, but the event is what, the 3rd, I think?
Correct.
Isn't it? Yeah.
That's Saturday,
And
May 3rd. Yeah.
right. So the registration is in the watch shop, and it goes from the Monday to the Friday. Here it is. Yeah. So it is from the 28th Monday to the 2nd Friday, and we open at 8:30 in the morning. So if you're working in town and you want to pop by before work to either register or to pick up your stuff,
Pick up your
check in, pick up your stuff, you can do that. And we're open from 8:30 to 5, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And we have extended hours to 6 o'clock on Wednesday. If you're working in St. George and you just can't get in, well, here's your opportunity. We
Right.
give you an extra hour. But it is important to note that we do not give out t-shirts and goodie bags at the starts or at the end on event day. You must come to our office to get that.
To stress it.
We do hand out event numbers though at the starts. So if you just can't pick up during the week, and incidentally, you can send somebody to pick up for you. We're very happy to do that. We'll note in our system who did pick up for you, and we'll then check you in. So you can pick up for yourself and friends and family, or you can send somebody to pick up for you.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And you mentioned volunteers earlier. I mean, probably hundreds of volunteers, right?
We do.
Are you still taking signups for volunteers? And if somebody wants to get involved and help out, what kind of roles do you have for them to do?
Right. Well, we have our goodie bags need to be stuffed before the event. I think that's handled already. Then we have registration, which is my responsibility, and I have my people for that, so I'm good. We have road marshals, and I think there's still some openings on the road marshal front. And
I imagine that's a big one, yeah.
Yeah, and then we have the end, and we've had comments over the years that, can we make the end more of an event, because some people found it anticlimactic. They've done all this walking and they get to the end and it was a letdown for them, frankly. Right. So this year we have Butterfield and Vallis, who's providing a free barbecue at the end.
Okay.
And what else we got there?
You've got prizes. You've got a bunch of prizes at the end. So you actually have incentive now to make it to the end. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a cool zone misting station. There's a cool zone hydration station. There's going to be a DJ, a photo booth, food vendors. All of that at the end. And we dabbled, we were talking about the event itself. So essentially, this is not a run. It's not a race. A lot of people call it the end-to-end race. Well, it's not a race. You want to run? God bless you. Run it.
Feel free.
Crawl it. Do what you want. But the main events, we start in St. George, and we have the end-to-end walk, and there's the end-to-end ride. Those leave from St. George. If you're a real cyclist, there's even the end-to-end that leaves Dockyard, goes to St. George, and then back to Dockyard.
That's wild.
I mean, don't try this, folks. If you haven't,
that's
if 40 miles is not a normal ride for you, don't do this. So that's the end-to-end. Then we have the middle-to-end component. We have the middle-to-end walk that leaves from, I guess they're calling it Point Pleasant Park now. We used to call it All Boys Point. So, of course, if you're a resident here, you've been here for a long time, it'll always be All Boys Point.
It's always going to be All Boys Point.
The old Bank of Bermuda building, which is now Point House, is that what we call it?
I don't know.
And that's actually
Convex
is our title sponsor. That's where their headquarters is in that building. So we've got the Middleton walk, and then we have the Middleton ride that leaves from Botanical Gardens. And then for those that even the middle to end is a little bit much, then we have what we call the fun walk. And the fun walk leaves from Beacon Hill, which is up the hill from the Somerset Police Station. That's a 5K. And that goes from there to Dockyard. And we do have transportation for those doing the fun walk. There's a parking lot right there. You leave your car, you walk, and then after the walk, we'll bring you back to your car.
Nice. So that was going to be one of my questions for you, right? So I do this end to end.
Yeah.
How am I getting home? Do I
Oh, I
just need
don't
to
know. That's your problem.
organize? That's my problem.
No, it's not. Of course not. Of course not.
Are there
Customer
any
service. We're all about customer
are there
service.
any transportation options
Yes.
for people, whether it be ferries, shuttles,
Sure, sure.
whatever
We
that
have
is?
flights leaving every half. No, Bermuda Air is flying people from Dockyard
Rich
to Hamilton.
Rich has got jokes, man. He's got jokes for days.
Does he ever? So, well, we have a couple of things. Number one, the bus and ferry are free all day if you have your event number. So that's one way. Now we have a lot of people ending up at Dockyard. And it's been a common complaint that there's long lines for the ferries, not enough ferries. So this year we're fortunate that Orbis stepped up as a sponsor and they're
Okay.
sponsoring additional ferries. So we're going to have more ferry lift out of Dockyard.
Nice.
So you can take the ferry with your number back to Hamilton. From
Nice.
Hamilton, you are on your own though.
I I don't think that people truly understand is what that really is the fact that the event is so large that
Right.
you guys have organized for the public transportation service to say anybody with their number on wherever you're going on the island, we're gonna get you there on that day. That's a big deal.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah,
you
we
know,
have to thank the Department of Public Transportation. All these people who work with us, the police. I mean,
mhm,
I keep coming back to what a major undertaking it is to move 2,500 people across the island and keep them safe along the way. We have first aid people. We have the Red Cross involved. We have vans like in the day of Project Ride and the Asmobile. If people were struggling, they'd get them to the end. We have people helping the bikers. So if they need support, a flat tire or something along the way,
right.
we have to allow for that as well. So yes, it is. It is a lot.
It's a lot.
It is.
Logistics.
It is a great deal.
For
Yes.
sure. And so as a person that's done it myself, things that I wasn't expecting with the experience until I got there was just how tiring it actually is. Like, I mean, you you obviously know that it's gonna take something out of you to walk
Right.
from, even if it's just a walk at a
Right.
very slow pace. But are there any tips, tricks, things that you can share with your years of experience in the end to end for folks that maybe are not out, running and physically active constantly like that, but they
Right.
want to go out there and do the end to end? Are there things that you would recommend for them in terms of how to prepare for it?
Well, I would say that you don't want to wake up the day before and just say, I'm going to go walk the end in tomorrow.
So that's
It
tip
is a
number one,
tip number one. It is a serious walk.
which I
It,
feel like that's what I did when I
it
did it.
okay.
But I
Well,
mean, I was younger and a lot more active, so there's that. But
don't wear new shoes. Maybe bring a change of socks with you. There's an anecdote I was reading the history of the end, and they had tips, and one of them was to have like baby powder with you to keep your feet dry and stuff.
uh,
So one year they gave out packets of baby powder to all the participants. And they said that along the way, like at the water stops, people were stopping to open these packets, and it looked like people had dumped cocaine all over the all over the road. It was just covered with white powder wherever you looked. Clouds of it in the air and all over.
when the
But
end to
we don't
end
give.
takes a left turn, right?
Right, exactly. So the thing is not to assume that it's just a walk. It is, even the middle to end is a serious walk. So you want to get out there. There's still, at the time of this podcast, we're about 3 weeks out. So you still have time. Get out there, make sure you can do the distance. Don't just assume. It shouldn't be a crippling, painful experience. Find somebody fun, enjoyable to walk with. Got a new partner, a new girlfriend, new boyfriend, whatever. Great way to get to know somebody. Great way to get to know a gang of friends, more in depth, because you're going to have hours together that you can
For sure.
walk.
For sure.
But it is important to make sure that you can handle and you're going to enjoy the distance.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So, is there an approximate time for the average person to finish end to end and middle to end?
That's a great question, and I'm sure I've asked and forgotten the answer to that multiple times. I don't even know if I want to hesitate a guess. Um, so I'm not going to.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't remember how long it takes. 5 hours or something for the
Fair
end. And
enough.
it's
But
you've got 22 miles. Well, figure 22 miles if you're
22
doing,
miles, yeah.
you know, that can't be 3 miles an hour would be 7 hours. So it's a good walk.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're dedicating a good half the day, easy,
Correct. For
easy.
sure. I mean, people are not arriving if they're doing the end to end. I think they're getting there afternoon in Dockyard.
Yeah,
So it is a good walk, but it's a real experience, and it's one of those. It
it
can be a
is.
bucket list thing. It can be one of those things you'll never forget that you did the end to end. And we have people that have do it every year, and done it multiple times. We have people like Martha Dismont, who was like the queen of the end to end, and she would host parties to raise funds every year, and she would do the end to end. And unfortunately, she passed away a couple of years ago,
Oh
but
man,
she was wonderful. And we should talk about some benefits of the fundraising.
for
We
sure.
do offer prizes for fundraising. Uh, if you're going to do the event, you can actually create a personal fundraising page on our website. You just click a link and you can set up this page, and then you send the link to your family and friends, and then they can go online and then donate directly in your name to the end to end. And a new feature that we added last year, thanks to our good friends at Bermuda, for every $50 that you donate at the time of registration, in addition to your registration fee. So if you're an adult, it's $50 for your registration, but that just basically pays for your t-shirt and your goodie bag and all that stuff.
Right,
If you want to donate as well to our charities,
to help the
for
cause.
every $50 you donate, you get one entry in our drawing for 2 business class tickets on Bermuda Air. You choose where you want to go. They'll give you 2 business class tickets. And this
Beautiful.
is not like the lottery, right? We don't have millions of people. You're going to have a few hundred people who are putting this $50
Right.
in. So your odds are a lot better than
Yeah.
than winning the lottery.
Your chances of winning those flights are actually pretty good from the sounds of it, right?
Right. And on top of that, the top individual fundraiser prizes this year. We have an overnight stay at the Hamilton Princess with breakfast for 2 and a premier suite. We
Nice.
have 2 round trip business class tickets to Bermuda Air, on Bermuda Air rather. We have Hamilton Princess overnight stay with breakfast for 2 in a deluxe room. We have a Tissot sports watch, compliments of Astwood Dickinson, dinner at Four Ways Inn, compliments of MEF. A flow massage at Exhale Spa, compliments of Hamilton Princess. Lunch for 2 at Crown and Anchor Restaurant, compliments of Hamilton Princess. And Vineyard Vines, $150 gift cards, 3 of those to be awarded. So,
Tons of great
yeah,
prizes.
yeah, again.
And my question on that is, so you mentioned that in order to be eligible for the draw,
Right.
you have to donate extra,
Right.
correct?
And that it's not
And
afterwards. This particular draw is only at the time you register. So you go
right.
online, you register yourself for $50 or 25 if you're a primary or secondary school student. And then there's an optional donation box with a big image of a Bermuda airplane. And it explains that for every multiple of $50 you give, you've got it.
That's
You're
how
in the
you have.
drawing for those business class tickets.
Right. And my question now is this a draw where I have to be at the end of the end to end in
No.
order to win? Okay.
No, we
Cool.
will.
Because
We do a random.
you know how you have those raffles, right? Where it's
Yes,
like
yes,
you
yes.
have to be there to win.
Right.
Because I was gonna say that extra stipulation of making it to the end. Because what if I don't make it?
Yeah, no, you don't. And we're not giving one ticket. So like, oh, you get one business class ticket. And it's, well, then I have to buy a second one because I'm always going to travel with so-and-so, right?
No,
We're giving you
get
2. This is
get to.
this is the real deal. I should also mention, excuse me, the Deloitte School Prize. Deloitte, our platinum sponsor, has been supporting us for years with this. And they give a $15,000 award with the support from Butterfield and Vallis and the Bermuda End or the Convex End. And to win, the school team must have a school team registered for the event and raise the most money other than registration. Oh, no, it's either through registration fees or fundraising efforts this year. So it's whoever raises the most money as a school, and you have to be registered for the event and say your team is Mount St. Agnes or Warwick Academy or
Right.
whoever. And the school gets $15,000, which is, again, nothing
A
to
big deal.
sneeze at.
Yeah.
And new for this year, Butterfield is the Butterfield Bank is sponsoring 50 students to participate from Delwood, Sandys, and Whitney Institute.
Nice.
So 3 schools, 50 kids are getting sponsored for free by these things. So we really have a lot of buy-in from the community, which is great.
It sounds like the event is continuing to grow, continuing to thrive. So on behalf of the community, I want to say thank you for the work that I know that you and your team put in tirelessly, because as you've mentioned so many times, it is a serious undertaking.
It is.
It really is.
It is. And people need to know where to go in order to see all of this. So if you want more information on the event, it's quite simple. It's just Bermuda End to End.bm, no spaces, all one word. You'll find the timing of the event starts. You can download a little event brochure that tells you all about it. There's an animated map that takes you from one end of the island, shows you all the routes, excuse me, all that stuff. Please, if you're biking, if you're going to cycle, wear a helmet. Okay. It's important. And remember to stay off the railway trail if you're biking. And we actually have government actually gets involved to pass they gazette a regulation that the railway trail is off limits to bicycles or scooters, for that matter,
on that day.
On that day,
Yeah,
yes,
for sure, for sure. Well, Richard, thank you so much for stopping by and giving so much great information about the End to End happening this year, May 3rd. Go check out the website.
Thanks,
Bermuda
Rusty.
End to End.bm.
Thanks
Simple,
for having us.
Easy. Anything else that we've missed today? I think we've covered a great bit of information. I'm sure there's more.
Yeah, just another last thing to leave you with is those fabulous water stops. We thank the community for sponsoring them, and there's a prize for the best water stop. So we ask you to vote. There's a QR code you can scan and choose your favorite water stop along the way. There's this big competition between some of the water stops to win that.
Let me tell you,
being
they
past
take
winner.
it very seriously.
Very seriously.
They take it very seriously.
Yeah.
So when you see a stop that you like, make sure you show them some love and drop the vote and help them out, because they do put some effort in to make sure that the vibes are great.
Right.
So yeah.
And Bermuda, thank you for your support over these 38 years. All the charities we've supported, the $7 million we've raised, it's all because of your support. So thank you for that.
Richard, thanks again for stopping by, and looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to this year's End to End. Thank you. This is another edition of the Irie 98 podcast, wrapping up here. Really appreciate all the support that you've been showing us so far. If you like conversations like this and much more, please go and subscribe to the podcast. Also, you can check us out on YouTube at Irie 98. All right. It's Rusty G signing out. Until the next one, be safe, be good.